You know, it's a strange thing when you achieve a goal that you've been working towards for such a long time. A goal that you've been thinking about and you've been focused on, and you've always been thinking about how great it's going to be when you reach that goal. When you finally do reach that goal, it's an unusual experience because it does feel good, but it doesn't feel quite the way that you thought it would. And that's because when you get there, you realize it's not really about the goal. It's actually about who you become on your way to the goal. How you've had to improve as a person to reach that goal, the lessons that you've had to learn to reach that goal. So that's why I've been thinking, rather than just making this another video of a YouTuber saying thanks for the 100,000 subs, I thought perhaps there's a way I can actually give something back to you guys to show my gratitude. And perhaps the best way to do that is to share with you some of the things that I've learned on the way to this 100,000 subscriber goal. Because after all, the greatest resource is
knowledge.
Knowledge. Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Knowledge. Cool, dude.
So whether you guys out there are looking to start YouTube channels of your own, or even if you're not, if your dream or your goal is other things, I think a lot of these lessons can apply regardless of what your goal is. So my way of saying thank you to each and every one of you guys for getting me to my goal here of the 100,000 subscribers. And truly, I do love all of you guys. I love every single one of you guys. By way of thank you, here is the top 5 things I've learned on the road to 100K. This is something I really believe in, and it's something that I believe is very important, especially for us men. Really, the only thing that any of us can really depend on in this life is ourselves. We are the only ones we can depend on. Sure, you'll have friends and you'll have family who can be very reliable, but the only person we can really count on all the time is us. That's why I think it's so important, especially for men, that we are independent and we are self-sufficient, that we don't need anyone else. Working for yourself and being your own boss is the best way to be just that, independent and self-sufficient. So I encourage all of you out there to, whatever it is you want to do, just go out and do it. Don't overthink it. If you want to make movies, just pick up a camera and just make it. Just make it and figure everything out as you go. If you want to be a stand-up comedian, just do it. Just go to an amateur comedy nightclub, stand up there, start telling jokes, and figure it out as you go.
So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
Because I think we do really get bogged down in this day and age in the details. Like, don't overthink things. Like, a lot of us have this idea that, mostly through the education system, that we have to spend a lot of time with our heads in books, learning theories and stuff behind things before we can actually go out and do it hands-on. From a historical point of view, that's a very, very new concept. That's only really been around for like maybe the last, 100 years? I mean, something like that. I mean, before that, for thousands and thousands of years, people learn skills by actually doing them through trial and error, hands-on, doing it themselves. I mean, how do you think Da Vinci became such a great artist? He didn't learn that in school. He was an apprentice. He had an apprenticeship. He had to paint tons of pictures before he started to get really good. So that's why I encourage you, like, if you want to make movies, just make them. Like, granted, you're going to need to learn some of the technical stuff in school, but I mean, quite often, a lot of technical skills we can just self-teach. We're living in a wonderful age with all the resources on the internet. A lot of us can just self-teach ourselves skills. So don't think that you have to go and get a ton of education to achieve whatever your dream is. So just do it. Just go out there and do it and work it out as you go.
No! What are you waiting for? Do it!
This is another thing that I think is very important to achieving goals, is you have to know you're going to fail a lot on your way to those goals. But what a lot of people fail to recognize is failure is an important part. it's part of the process of achieving something. Like, each time you fail, you get a little bit better. This is why I find like the Mary Sue characters in movies so offensive, because it's completely unrealistic to how things are in real life. And I think it's a really bad example and a really bad message to send to young people, this idea that you can just be spectacular at something right from the beginning. This is a complete lie. It is a total lie. That is not how it works at all. Everybody in whatever field they may be, anyone who's very good at something, it took them a long time to get that way, and they've had to fail many, many, many times to get there. Like, I mean, this is a process that never ends. I mean, I look at my videos now compared to where they used to be, and they are much better now compared to what they used to be, but I still know that they can get better, and they will continue to get better as I continue to learn. So like when I look back on some of my early videos, they're so embarrassing and they're so cringy, and you know, part of me wants to delete them because they're so embarrassing, the really, really early ones, but I'm like, you know, I want to leave them up there so that if anyone cares, they can look back and look through my videos and they can see how I've changed over time, because it's okay to fail. Like, it's important to fail. You must fail. So when you're achieving your goal, don't be discouraged by the fact that you're failing. Like, you're supposed to fail. But each time you fail, you get a little bit better at failing until you eventually succeed.
I couldn't have gone to one lifting event in my life if I would have been afraid of failure. Because of course there's a chance that you can fail. When you lift the weight, I tried 10 times to lift bench press 500 pounds. And I failed, but the 11th time I did it. You can't always win, but don't be afraid of making decisions. You can't be paralyzed by fear of failure, or you would never push yourself. You keep pushing because you believe in yourself and in your vision. And you know that it is the right thing to do, and success will come, so don't be afraid to fail.
You know, in the movie The Founder, Michael Keaton's character, he keeps listening to this self-help tape, kind of like an early version of Tony Robbins or whoever the guy was. But he says in that persistence is the ultimate key.
One word: persistence.
Nothing in this world can take the place of good old persistence. Talent won't. Nothing's more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't.
Unrecognized genius is practically a cliche. Education won't. Why, the world is full of educated fools.
Persistence and determination alone are all powerful.
And that is absolutely correct. I mean, this is a truth that you hear echoed a lot. It's kind of like semantics. A lot of these self-help gurus and stuff, they're all essentially saying the same thing. They just have different ways of saying it. And that is evidence that it is a fundamental truth that applies. Persistence is one of the most important things any of us can have. And it's the only thing that, linking into the previous point of it's okay to fail, you need persistence to get past those failures. I mean, that's what separates people who succeed and achieve their goals and people who don't. Is the people who, I know it sounds cliched, but people who succeed, they don't give up. I mean, if you stick with it long enough, your skills will grow and you'll eventually achieve what you want. So a person who's able to filter out all the negative feedback, filter out their failures, and just keep going, that's the person who will achieve their goals. That's something that I've learned here on the channel. I've just stuck with it and my skills have improved and I've achieved this goal that I've set now. And it's a lesson that I want to communicate. Persistence is the ultimate tool, and persistence is truly far better than talent or intelligence or any of the other things. It is the skill to have. This can kind of sound like a contradiction to the previous point of just persistence and just through sheer determination pushing through goals, but this is evolve, adapt, and keep moving. And what I mean is the online world is a good example of this, because the online world, as the common sort of meme about the internet is, everything's sped up on the internet. Like a week on the internet is like a month in real life. And as a result of that, especially like being a content creator here on YouTube, although this lesson does apply outside of YouTube, I just think it's very well demonstrated here on YouTube, you need to constantly adapt, constantly evolve, and constantly keep on moving. And I think that's demonstrated because if you look at a lot of the major channels out there that are sort of in a similar area as the ones that mine are, you know, movies, comics, nerdy stuff like that, like each of the main channels kind of has one thing that they're known for. Like Mr. Sunday Movies is known for the 10 Things You Missed video. Screen Junkies, they're known for the honest trailers. Red Letter Media is known for the Plinkett reviews. You know, everybody has their thing. that they're known for, and it's a thing that they do that others don't do, or at least don't do as well. So I especially think that when you start out as a YouTuber, you need to find your thing. Like some of you guys like email me and ask for me my advice. My advice is when you start out your channel, experiment all the time with lots of different things, and eventually you'll hit on something that no one else is doing that can make you stand out, and then you can really focus on that and make that your thing. For me, with my channel, that was initially fan fiction. I was well known for making the fan fiction rewrites of movies that people didn't like, and persistence in just following through and making those fan fiction rewrites. Like the persistence was necessary and failure was okay. Again, like the Phantom Menace rewrite is cringy to watch now, but when I watch Revenge of the Sith with all the actors and the voice actors and stuff, and it's just much better written and much better animated, and I'm like, it's like persistence pays off. But what I found is, the thing about YouTube, this is where the evolving and adapting and moving, keep moving comes from. Once you become good at something on YouTube, lots of other people will start to do similar things. So you need to come up with the next thing. This is where evolving and adapting comes from. Like I really noticed after the end of Game of Thrones season 8, I made a video of Game of Thrones how it should have ended, and I gave my little fan fiction rewrite of that. But I've noticed now, as opposed to when my channel first got started, now there's a ton of fan fiction on YouTube. There's loads of it. There's so many other channels out there devoted entirely to like writing and really good advice on writing and stuff like that, how to craft characters, and a lot of people saying here would have been a better way to end like Game of Thrones in this case. There's how it should have ended, that channel. There's even like really professionally done fan fiction, like the Vader film. There's fan fiction everywhere. So I saw the need to evolve and come up with the next thing. And the next thing that I came up with was my what if videos, taking a character from one fictional universe, putting him in another, and then speculating about how it would go. When I thought of that, I thought this could be my next thing, because it's not really something that anyone else is doing at the moment. And it required persistence to get it going, because when I started it, when you start off with new things, it doesn't explode immediately. It takes time for people to understand, oh, this is a new series or something. And I thought, I just need one video to sort of really take off, and then this will be a thing. And I think that may have just happened, because we've got Godzilla. What if Godzilla was in Pacific Rim? That sort of blew up after the latest Godzilla movie. So my persistence has paid off, and I think this will grow and become the next thing that my channel is kind of known for. And that doesn't mean that I'm stopping the fan fiction. I'll always do that a bit, but I do want to evolve and adapt and keep moving and start putting out actual original content and original stories very shortly. But bringing it back to the main point is, it requires persistence to make a channel around a new thing. But even when you have that thing, you need to constantly keep growing and keep moving to sort of stay ahead of the curve, especially online. But that applies in lots of different fields. Even when you do achieve some area of success in whatever field you want to work in, you do need to constantly innovate and constantly keep adapting and moving forward. Otherwise, you just kind of become stale.
Running water never grows stale, so you gotta just keep on flowing. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
I think this is probably the biggest revelation that I've had on this little journey of mine to 100,000 subscribers that I want to communicate to you. And it's that I sort of touched on at the beginning of this video, but it's like you set a goal and you want to achieve this goal, but when you achieve it, you realize you are the goal. Like a lot of small business owners come to realize this, that the small business is them. They are the small business. You are the small business. You are the muscle that keeps the business going and keeps the money coming in and keeps the rent paid and the lights on and all that sort of stuff. It is you. The business is you. Or in this case, the channel is me. So when you want to achieve your goal, you need to become the goal. And I think this is what a lot of sports people say. There is no opponent. It's only you.
You see this guy here staring back at you?
Yeah.
That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life, okay?
understanding what that means, I think, is the biggest lesson I've got on this journey to 100k subscribers that I want to communicate to you, which is when you look at it in that way, because it's true that the only thing between you and your goal is yourself. Whatever obstacles there are between you and your goal, it's up to you to overcome them. Think of it as, to overcome those obstacles to reach your goal, there's a checklist of things you need to do. And the only one who determines whether or not you're able to fulfill that checklist is you. So really, there is no opponent, there is no obstacle to your goal, it's just you.
It's a fight at the end, it doesn't matter who, there is no opponent, there's no Jose Aldo. Who the f is Jose Aldo? There's no one. You're against yourself. You know what I mean? You're against yourself.
And I think this is the reason why, like, you could take Steve Jobs out of Apple and the company just kind of collapsed, but then Steve Jobs came back and the company took off because he was Apple. He was the product. And that's kind of the real lesson of setting a goal and achieving the goal, is it's not about the goal, it's about who you become to reach that goal. That's what it's really about. So I hope I haven't bored you too much with all my babbling, but as I said, I love you guys so much for helping me to achieve this goal, and I just wanted to give something back to you. And I think the best thing I can give back to you, other than the content that I make, and hopefully the content will get better as I continue to work on it, but I want to communicate with you these lessons because I think they're kind of worth more. And before I go, I know a lot of you are probably going to ask, hey, you're at 100k subscribers, are you going to do a face reveal? No, I'm not. For two reasons. One, I like being anonymous. I like being able to just blend into the crowd when I'm out doing my shopping. I don't really want to be singled out or anyone going, hey, that's Bandit. But more importantly, I've found that with some of the few people that I have actually, who do actually know what I look like, who've known me first through the channel, I've noticed a lot of them have said like, they might say like, oh, yeah, I didn't picture you like that. I imagine you'd be like a surfer dude. And I think, but you're a surfer dude. Or they'll be like, oh, I'd imagine you'd be you're shorter. And I'm like, but you're short. And I realized that by not actually showing my face, it sort of kind of allows people to project themselves onto me, and I think that's kind of cool. I can kind of be whatever people need me to be, and I think that's actually worth more than me actually showing my face, because is it just me, but face reveals are always just kind of underwhelming, aren't they? I mean, like, you see what people look like and you're like, yeah, it looks like a regular person. That's it, you know, it's always anticlimactic. So no face reveals doesn't mean there won't be at some point in the future. But yes, thank you once again for the 100,000 subscribers. This was an incredible milestone to make, and is only due to the support and the help all of you guys, especially like my core subscribers. I know a lot of you guys by name, and I really appreciate your support. And let's go for that 1 million subs. Let's go for that golden play button. Who knows what the future will hold? I don't, but I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all of you from the very bottom of my heart. I am Bandit, this is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.